Ripple didn't win some minor victory here. They ended the war on crypto once and for all. Case closed with finality. The appeals, they're gone. The uncertainty that's attached to them, well, that's out of here as well. But there's one part that the market is not pricing in yet. When those courtroom lights go out, the real games begin in the dark, quiet filings, cold custody transfers, liquidity that reprices before headlines catch up. Now, you have people like Galaxy Digital, notoriously anti XRP. What did their public filings just show? They have a position in XRP. What do you know? There's going to be more like this as we go forward. BlackRock, you know they are orbiting the XRP ecosystem. Look for them to make a move here shortly. We're going to go over it. And you have everyone on X arguing over nonsense. While Ripple, they just brought Rail. Turnkey rails, compliant APIs, stablecoin plumbing. We got XRP Ledger, RLUSD, Rail. That's not a narrative. That's a stack. And Swift and Circle now, they have some major problems here. Let's take a look at this. So there's some confusion out there today. Ripple and the SEC, they filed to drop the appeals. And a lot of people think maybe that has to go back to the judge and there's something more to be done. Mark Fagel, former regional director of the SEC, he makes it clear that's it. You know, there's some procedural stuff in the background that has to happen from the courts, shuffling some papers. This don't go back to the judge. There's nothing to be approved. The minute those appeals are dropped, Judge Torres's ruling goes into effect. And that's it. It is activated automatically, and there is nothing left to do here. It is literally all over Red Rover, and this is going to clear the way, and we're going to talk about it for BlackRock, Fidelity, your big players to come in here, launch ETFs. It's going to clear the way for people like Robinhood and Bitstamp to launch infrastructure on top of this blockchain, probably BlackRock as well, and your builders and your investors can really go big time into this crypto asset. It's going to be really, really popular. Ripple and the SEC have agreed to dismiss their Second Circuit Court appeals, ending this legal battle of the century. And it lasted about a century. How ridiculous. The district court's judgment stands, $125 million penalty, permanent ban on unregistered institutional XRP sales, and really, they're enjoined from breaking the law. Like, okay, everyone's enjoined from breaking the law. No big deal here. And critically, the landmark ruling that secondary market XRP, well, it's not a security, remains untouched. That wasn't going to be touched anyway. We know that. XRP is not a security. That's the law of the land, and it's only going to get stronger when we get regulations here. And that's coming quickly as well. This is going to be such a busy year, so many drivers of value. And this one, it's just one of those procedural things where we all knew the outcome, but it has to happen because your BlackRocks, your Fidelities, your big players, they don't take almost over. Like, it has to be set in stone, then they move. This is what we've been waiting on. It's not about this thing happens on a date and the price goes flying. No, it's about clearing the way for real money to start flowing in here. Now, this was interesting. Galaxy Digital, if you remember, Mike Novogratz is typically, I don't like XRP, I like Ripple, all this stuff. Well, their public filing, because they're going to do an IPO, it shows they have $34 million in XRP investment, and look for them to add to that in a significant way. And they're not going to be the last to pivot and start buying at higher prices. You get the price you deserve. That's just the way it is. This portfolio shift comes as regulatory clarity solidifies XRP status in the market. Look, you're talking about the number 3 crypto. It's got the clarity. It's got the utility. People are going to buy it. And it's going to be a popular coin, too, as we go forward. This represents a strong institutional signal that could inspire other funds to follow. And they will, and they already have started. It's just going to continue. And dropping this case with the SEC is only going to help there and help in a big way. Now, a lot of speculation. We've been speculating for a long time on this here on this channel, but BlackRock, XRP ETF, it's coming here. Growing evidence, researcher Anders points to signs that a BlackRock XRP ETF filing may be imminent. Director Maxwell Stein of BlackRock will be speaking at Ripple Swell 2025, suggesting deepening institutional interest. And I'm telling you right now, it's not just about that ETF. That'll be big. That's a game changer. And it's not when it goes live. Just them announcing that they're filing an XRP ETF, that's going to drive the price of XRP. But I think it's deeper than that. BlackRock wants to tokenize the world. And whether that's a good idea or not, whether we should like that, they're going to do it. And I think they're going to use the XRP ledger directly. They're already starting to do that with Ethereum and other blockchains. but XRP is going to be really attractive to them for tokenizing stocks, bonds, real estate, all sorts of stuff. It will be in their flows sooner than later. Look for them to move in two ways and in a big way, both from an investment standpoint and using it. Expert perspective here. ETF expert Nate Garachi says expanding beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum into XRP and Solana is strategically logical for a major asset manager like BlackRock. I mean, everyone's called this. You don't have to be a Nostradamus here. They're not just going to concede this brand new market, most of it, yes, the two coins are the biggest right now, but they're not going to concede the rest of the market. They just won't. They're going to descend here, and you're going to see these ETFs for your major altcoins. You best believe. If BlackRock moves forward, expect a cascade of ETF filings. So when they make their move, you're going to see more, and a BlackRock ETF will legitimize it that much more and look for more institutions to actually pick this up in their various funds. Investors should right now watch for 19Bs, S1s, regulatory filings, and language shifts from BlackRock. We may see an iShares trust get filed here at some point in time, something like that. But be on the lookout. It's coming, and it's coming really, really quick. Now, this was a big news. I don't know if everyone saw how big it is, but Ripple acquires Rail for $200 million. I saw scams today making a big deal about, well, they only use Ethereum. Not now that Ripple owns them. Like, that makes sense. Ethereum has the most liquidity, but you don't think Ripple can integrate XRP Ledger in with what Rail does? Of course they can. Of course they will. Ripple's $200 million acquisition of Rail adds turnkey stablecoin infrastructure, programmable cross-border flows, and compliance-first APIs into its ecosystem. They're being aggressive. They're building for scale. They're building for actual adoption. This is a combined technology stack with XRP Ledger, RLUSD, and Rail, creating a vertical solution from settlement layer to user interface, positioning Ripple to rival established players in global finance. So it's about onboarding to these systems for practical use. This was a big acquisition here. This is going to help them scale. This is going to help them onboard customers in a significant way. This acquisition positions Ripple to compete directly with Swift and Circle, potentially serving as the back end for global money movement systems. Watch for RLUSD integration into Rail and a potential RippleNet launch. So yeah, they're going to take what Rail already has and they're going to expand it. It doesn't matter what they've done for the last bit. It's going to just, it'll focus on the XRP ledger. Best believe that. We're really at an inflection point right now. It's quite interesting. 95% of XRP holders are in profit. Nearly all XRP holders are currently in the profit, creating some tension. Are people going to start taking a bunch of profit? But we have this bullish institutional momentum as well. And knowing XRP investors for a long time, it's going to take more than this to push most people off the mark. Looking at price predictions, short-term target $4 to $5. Let's up that up one more dollar to $6. But you see it all over the place. I mean, people think this price is going to go 20, 30, 50, 100 bucks. Who knows? I'm not here to tell you how high things will go. Again, that first target for me is $6, and I think we're going to hit it this time, and I think we're going to go beyond it. That's why that's where my first target is set at, because I think we will hit it easily. This profit situation creates a volatile market dynamic. Of course, most people in profit, people might start taking profits, but they're going to be replaced by ETF inflows and institutions, and it's just going to continue to grow and compound. Not worried about it at all, to be honest with you. Institutional Ethereum accumulation starts to accelerate. Since June, ETFs and corporate treasuries have purchased over 3% of the total Ethereum supply, significantly reducing available tokens in circulation. You've seen the price really respond there. Banks are showing preference for treasury firms over ETFs due to their ability to stake Ethereum and utilize DeFi protocols. That's going to change here. We're going to see staking ETFs sooner than later. It's going to help this whole sector, and it'll help Solana and Cardano and all those other staking coins as well. Analyst Tom Lee, he projects a potential 16,000 Ethereum price. And, if Ethereum does 16,000, you're going to see great things out of XRP and a lot of other coins within the space. I'm not so sure if it goes quite that high, but we'll see it play out. It wouldn't shock me. I wouldn't be like, wow, I didn't think that was possible. I just don't think it'll go quite that high. We'll see, though. Depends on how big this bull run is. And really, Bitcoin will be a good metric. How far does that push out here? We're seeing constrained supply, of course. A lot of people acquiring. It's removing supply from exchanges. We've had regulatory clarity, the Genius Act. This stuff helps blockchains like Ethereum, like XRP that are actually being used, and stablecoin demand. Again, it's going to help both of these two chains. They have a lot of use case in the real world. All right, and then we have our last story here. Altseason signals are strengthening. The index jumps. Altseason index has increased from 34 to 50, while Bitcoin dominance has dropped to 61.5%. Capital rotation, money is flowing into major altcoins like Ethereum, XRP, and Solana, while weaker tokens struggle to attract investment. But I'll tell you this, this is that first part of the cycle where your big dogs take off within alts, but it's going to go down the list. And the one I have my eye on is Flare. I think Flare is going to have its moment where it's just going to be a beast. It's going to be a monster. It's just going to take a little time to develop. It makes sense. People pile into Bitcoin. It leads the way. Then you start going off onto your major altcoins, and it'll work down through the list, and it also hit the cycles. It'll be smart contracts for a while, and gaming, and all the same ones we always see. Artificial intelligence sector, all of that stuff. Survival phase, current market conditions favor fundamentally strong projects. So look for those ones with real world adoption. That's what we're seeing right now. Ethereum doing well, XRP doing well, and institutional entries. ETFs are going to be helpful. So who's going to get an ETF? Well, we know it's going to be XRP. We know it's going to be Solana, and it'll probably be another few of your major large cap cryptos. It's coming. Keep your eye on that, but that's where you should see most of the momentum. Let me know what you think down below. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.